Okay guys, Mochismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up if you like this video and you found it helpful. Pass it on if you believe someone else would benefit from it. I'd appreciate that. Well, if you're awakened from narcissistic abuse in 2025 and you're listening to me and you still have the mindset that racism exists in a major way, abandon that thought, okay? Abandon the thought and the whole idea of racism altogether. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're awakened from narcissistic personality disorder abuse in the way that myself and many other survivors are, you know undeniably that this is a spiritual, demonic overthrow of all things good, all things sound, all things solemn, all things that are built on integrity. Basically, not even integrity. Things that are built on authenticity, that is innate to you as a human being. That threatens the narcissist. And so we're dealing with a human problem. We're not dealing with a racial problem in the world. Because explain to me why so many people of color that often claim racism, but nonetheless, there's infighting. There is corruption within urban communities, such as Black Lives Matter, such as you name it, they're doing it. Fannie Williams from Atlanta, DA, people in the high ranks are getting caught in corruption, scandal, infidelity, and let's take Caucasian race. Let's take any race that you want to choose, any race, because we have all races here on this channel. And this is not about race, but I want to emphasize it to a point when I reference narcissistic abuse and narcissism. Narcissism is the problem. That is the number one public enemy, number one. That is the biggest threat to our society. Now, when you look at narcissists and narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder in the way that it is, not to even complicate it, most often the racism that the person portrays is nothing more than attention seeking. This is attention seeking because most often when someone, take George Floyd situation for example, that hurt humanity. You know, me as a black man, it was not even about him being a black man. It was him being, or I would say, a man of color. It was me looking at a human being starve for breath and to die in that way. Excuse me. So humanity hurt when that happened. I have friends of different nationalities that did more than bothered them. That hurt them to their soul. And so when that began to be looked at as a racial problem, the whole thing about this officer being a narcissist, that went over society's head, because oftentimes when we use racism, it's something we latch on to perpetuate our own personal indifference to others. Breaking that down, I'm mad already. I just need an excuse. I need someone to be the scapegoat for how I feel. Because in 2025, and even before, I've never felt underprivileged. I've never felt unequal, whatever that is. But I have felt very disgusted and discouraged by a lot of the things that I see in human form. This is before I realized about narcissists. So I can talk about people of color most often using racism as a ploy or an excuse for all things dissatisfied with. If they don't get treated a certain way, or they don't get spoken to a certain way. This is a narcissist 101, doesn't matter what color you are. And so I feel compelled to talk about this in the sense that this is a human problem. So is anyone out there that's awakened from narcissistic personality disorder abuse, and you're still blowing that horn and that trumpet of racism, there's a big picture, and there's a big window that we need to open the curtain to see the big picture. Narcissism trumps all types of other hatred, and racism being one of them. Because if you can look at, most often, if you see a person that's behaving racially, pay close attention to the behavior that belies that, or the demonstration of them that belies that mannerism, and tell me if you don't see strong narcissistic traits and strong narcissism. This has been my experience, and I'm sharing it with you guys. So again, this is not about race. I use racism as to emphasize my point. Narcissism is public enemy number one. And the corruption is at an all-time high. It's being exposed at an all-time high. I think public officials and different people, police officers, police chiefs, all of them are falling from what you call grace, but they're being exposed. They're being exposed in a way like never before. And the people who are exposing them, their comrades are throwing them out the window with the dishwater, and they're doing this in an attempt to not have the blood on their hands. It's kind of like a P. Diddy thing. You mean to tell me one individual is in jail with no bond when these were supposed freak off parties? This is narcissism 101. This is where people of influence, ego, economic power can make things happen to one individual and crucify them, and have a whole society looking at P. Diddy rather than the big picture. This is a narcissistic shit show. This is why empaths we don't plug in you. And if you are plugged in and tuned in to every step of the way, nook and cranny of P. Diddy trial, you are wasting your time, you're wasting your life. Because the narcissist's whole agenda is to paint narratives, to plot schemes and scenes and different things, because this is a movie to them. They are sitting back plotting different types of narratives and scenarios to distract well-meaning people from progressing. And while you're looking this way, they're sneaking out of the back door with the money. Ching, cha-ching. And what I mean by that, metaphorically, when you lock in and tune in to everything P. Diddy, freak off, etc., Epstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, different things such as this, what it does is it stagnates you, and it causes you to lose your focus in life. Not that these things are not really concerning to us, and they should be, but they should be concerning to us in a bigger way, to understand that this world means us no good. We are the good in the world, and we are the good that God is counting on to bring about right to the wrongs as much as we can, without being dogmatic, because to be wise in your awakeness is very key to your survival. You have to be wise. You have to approach certain situations and engage in certain situations with wisdom. Because what we know, the narcissists and the powers that be of darkness didn't expect us to know it in the way that we know it. They didn't expect that this thing would be opened on full display. And I think in 2020, God was just ramping it up. He was ramping it up. He slowed the country down, allowed this country to slow down in order so empaths could wake up. This country shut down so we could wake up. And so now everything seems like it's in full throttle again. Awaken empaths. Don't get caught up in those waves. Don't get caught up in that chaos. Don't get caught up in those reindeer games. Don't forget what God saved you from. 2020. You know, although there were a lot of tragic, unfortunate, people that lost their lives, deaths, sicknesses, people are still suffering from lack of short of breath, lack of being able to breathe appropriately. But wherever there's a tragedy, there is something good to be had out of it, and that's what empaths are supposed to look at. And what I'm saying now is that's 5 years behind us, and we still haven't forgotten. We shouldn't forget where this situation brought us to, or brought us from and brought us to. And God knows I remember when I woke up in 2020, and now here 5 years later, I thought I was, I don't know really what I thought at the time, but I felt blessed. But even here 5 years later, I'm still, I'm at my wit's end, understanding that this is a phenomenon that I wish most people were able to recognize. And that's my hopes, and that's my prayer, that all the content creators that are out here talking about this, not just talking about it, but making these dots connect in a real way, so people understand that the things that we're focused on, such as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, racism, politics, different things that we are concerned about, as we should be as citizens of this world, or this United States. We in any other states all over the world, we should be concerned to some degree, because we shouldn't just be blind to things that are happening to us. But there's a balance. There's a delicate balance that empaths, you must strike this balance. You must see these things that are happening in our world. You must understand them in a very, very realistic way, first of all, in a practical way. And I would implore you to look at every situation where there are all things bad, corrupt, dark. Look at it from a narcissistic perspective. And when you do that, the nonsense will make perfect sense. That's all I want to say. That being said, bless.